Hey everyone, I'm Brett, and welcome to Nightwood Guns. Today we are looking at the Kimber CDS9 Classic. Now, I reviewed the original CDS9 on the channel before, and this Classic model is their offering that is a little more affordable. It lost a few features, so be sure to stay tuned. We're going to talk about what they changed. Now, there was one thing that was changed on the Classic line that I think actually impacts its shooting performance a little bit, so be sure to stay tuned to hear what that is. This one right here is the classic optic ready model, and this one comes with the polished flats on the black finish, kind of has that Eclipse look to it. But overall, this is still the 2011 inspired micro carry 9mm that I loved from my first review. I strongly recommend you go check that out because I stand by that review. All the pros and the cons in that apply to this as well. I go over some cool features like the guide rod in these things acting as a standoff device. It sits just a little proud. The whole CDS9 lineup has cool little attentions to detail like that, so I'll link that video in the description down below if you want to go check it out. Otherwise, in today's review, I will go over the pros and the cons of the things they changed on the Classic lineup, and hopefully I can shed some light on whether or not it's worth saving a few bucks on the Classic line, or if it's still worth spending a little more and getting the standard model. I put 1,000 rounds of Buffalo Creek 115 grain target ammo through the CDS9 Classic Optic Ready. That is my go-to training ammo nowadays. And I know for a lot of people, budgets are tight, so there's something on screen that you might find interesting. And full disclosure, Kimber sent this gun into the channel for review, knowing full well that I do honest reviews, talk about the stuff I don't like, and talk about and show any issues that may happen with a gun. So right off the bat, what all is different on the Classic lineup from the original lineup? What did they delete from the gun to knock off a couple hundred less? Well, first of all, it has no front strap checkering milled into the frame. We're running these polymer textured grips instead of the Frag G10 grips. They deleted the accessory rail and they went with a more simplistic design on the slide serrations instead of that fish scale look they had on the original. And as far as I can tell, that's about it. So for a couple hundred less galactic credits, you're losing those features. So if those were important to you, then maybe this isn't the right fit for you. If you didn't care about them, then I'd say this is worth a look. Now, the main reason I was interested in checking out another CDS9 was so that I would have a sample of two, instead of just a sample of one on the channel to see how it performed overall. Reliability in my hands was 100%. When the gun was fresh and my wife was shooting it, she had 2 or 3 limp wrist malfunctions. But after about 200 rounds and the gun was broken in, it started running 100% in her hands. So maybe expect a little bit of a break-in period with these. The first one didn't need that at all, but this one did need a couple hundred rounds through it to completely iron it out. Again, it was 100% in my hands with my strong grip, but with my wife, you know, kind of jumps a little more in her hands and she had a couple of limp wrists. And speaking of that break-in, much like the original CDS9 that I had, the trigger was kind of mushy and heavy right out of the box. Couple hundred rounds later, it totally smoothed out. It is now crisp and clean, feeling a little lighter. I'm a fan. But other than that, it still has its lightweight aluminum alloy frame. I know a couple of people, when I posted my YouTube short, asked me if this was now a polymer frame. Nope, still aluminum alloy. It's also still rocking that external extractor, ambi safety, and ambi slide stop that can be used as a slide release. So in other words, nothing of any significance was really removed from the gun. Something else I want to give Kimber credit for on the CDS9 is there are no annoying or obnoxious markings on the gun. We have Kimber on the top of the barrel, and then we have CDS9 on the frame right here, but there's no, like Canic with like Prime on the barrel, and all these companies are just plastering all of these horrible looking things all over the gun. There's no QR codes on this. So kudos to Kimber for still making a classy looking gun, blending the line into a more modern design. So now's the part of the video where we hop into the negatives, maybe the things that aren't so great. And my negatives from the original CDS9 carry over to this, one of which is on the optic model. The rear iron sight is on the plate itself, so when you put an optic on this, you do not have a backup rear. A lot of people don't really find that to be an issue because, the HoloSun EPS carry 507K, they have that rear iron sight milled into the actual optic itself. But if for whatever reason you have a bad screw, something goes wrong, a screw shears and the optic goes flying, then you're stuck with no rear sight. But you can shoot without a rear sight, just a front sight. In fact, no sights. For the most part, no problem, but as far as I'm concerned, 2 is 1 and 1 is none, and that does include sighting systems. I will always take a lower co-witness backup iron sight system to my optic. just in case. One of my biggest issues is I believe this gun should come with a flush fit 10-round magazine in the box. The way it's currently shipping is it comes with this pinky extended 13-round magazine, and then it comes with the like absolutely insane 15-round magazine that just looks kind of ridiculous on this thing. I mean, I could see carrying this as a spare, but I feel like if someone's going to buy a little snubby micro gun Saturday night special, they're probably picking this gun over something like a KDS9 because of how small, compact, and concealable it is. So I would think that a flush fit 10-round magazine plus the 13-round magazine as the second mag in the box makes a little more sense for the actual use and purpose of the CDS9. However, the good news is the last CDS9 video I did, the flush fit mags were never and had never been in stock. They were unobtainium, but as of now, you can get your hands on them. Now, earlier on, I said that they made a change that actually maybe impacted the shooting performance of the CDS9 Classic, and that has to do with the grip. Now, this is not the end of the world. It is a nitpick, but it's an important nitpick to me. The frag patterned G10 grips on the original CDS9 absolutely bit into my hand and made this tiny little gun shoot like a full-size gun. It just locked into my hand. I could get the grip and the control over it that I wanted to run it very flat. It was one of my biggest praises of the original CDS9. Now, here's the thing that bugs me a little bit about the Classic. They have an incredible texture on this polymer grip. They knocked it out of the park. They clearly figured this out with the R7 Mako and the Carbon Compact. However, they did not texture this portion back here. It's 100% smooth. So what I found was happening while I was shooting it is this is my, strong hand grip, and then I would get my support grip in there, and the back of the ball of my hand was on this smooth part of the grip, and as I was shooting, it would kind of slip forward into the texture and then kind of lock in there. I just don't see any reason to not add this texture on this smooth part here, unless it was just a cost thing having to texture around the screw hole. I don't know. But the back of the panel should be textured, and it would give you even more control over the gun. Maybe they did it for comfort, because if someone's carrying it, they like bend over, they didn't want it rubbing their stomach or something. But this texture isn't very sharp at all. It's grippy, which is something that I love about it, but it's also not very abrasive. It's not a rough or sharp texture, and I would love the grip even more if they had textured this back portion of the panel. But I think the vast majority of people would not even notice this. The gun still shoots great. It's still a great texture. I can still get a grip on it. I would take this grip any day over any grip that leaves this space up here blank. Think, Glocks, CZP-10, the list goes on and on. I'm glad that the texture goes all the way up to the top. They get full credit for that. And speaking of traction, the deletion of the front strap checkering is also noticed when your hands get wet or sweaty. Outside of that, it's not the end of the world. But also kudos to them. They did put that texture on the back strap here, so you still have good traction with your hand. It's just when your hand gets sweaty, there's zero traction on the front strap. Not a huge deal. So like I said earlier, nothing of significance, nothing of consequence that is going to, potentially lose you your defensive gunfight was taken away from the Classic line. As far as my final recommendation goes, personally for me, I'm a buy once, cry once guy. I would drop a couple hundred more to get those frag patterned G10 grips, to get the front strap checkering, and to get the accessory rail in case I wanted to throw a little micro light on there. Rather have it, not need it, than need it and not have it. Overall, I've spent quite a bit of time with the CDS9 now between the two models, and I can say I still really like it. I stand by that first review. This is still my favorite micro carry 9mm on the market. If Tier 1 Concealed made an Axis Elite holster for this, I would be carrying it. But I really love seeing Kimber's redemption arc. I love the CDS9 offering. I wish them success with it because I'd like to see even more options like a slightly longer barrel. Of course, this is like a pipe dream. It would never happen, but collaborate with someone like Monsoon Tactical to cut some ports in there. That way they would grab that millennial and Gen Z audience for Kimber pistols. But I hope they're seeing with the success of the 2K11 that there is demand out there from the younger guys to get something high speed, low drag. I just need a Tier 1 concealed holster, a little longer barrel, and some Monsoon Tactical ports in there, and we'd be off to the races. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video, everyone. It was great seeing you guys again. I have some really cool videos coming up, so if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're a longtime viewer, don't forget to hit the like, thumbs up button, and drop a comment down below. It always helps. I recently picked up this really cool Springfield operator with an optic and ports on it. It has a really cool story behind it, actually, so I'm excited to share this on the channel. So yeah, it was great seeing you guys again. I'll see you in the next video. I'm Brett, and this was Nightwood Guns. Nightwood out.